Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, today I thought we would sit here together and unpunch this new game. Now, I've actually had this for a little while now, however, it's still in shrink wrap, which is a crime against humanity. Praga, Caput, Regni. More recent release, I think it was just 2020, from Vladimir Suchi. It looks really crunchy. I think it has a weight of about 3.75-ish. At least it was when Rado did a live playthrough of it. And I thought, you know, what more boring of a video could I possibly do than a live unpunching of a board game? So that's exactly what we're going to do. And now the title of this video may, I just wanted to test the sound. Raphael, hello, how are you? Zeem, how are you? But I wanted to, so if this title drives people away in droves, I completely understand, because I just thought the title was hilarious. How much more fun could it be than to watch someone unpunch a game, a board game? So hopefully, I may adjust the camera in a second, but we're going to just dive right into this. And we're taking the shrink wrap off first. Can you believe it? We are not only unpunching a board game, but we are taking the shrink wrap off. Because I don't know, I'll be honest, I was like, man, for this foreseeable future, I can't think of some, content that I really want to do on the channel. And I was like, well, I'm about to go down and unpunch this board game, so let's dive right in. I just took the shrink wrap off. We are going to be looking at this for the first time. We'll see if anyone out there has ever even heard of this game. Please let me know if you've played it before. Again, it is this right here. So I'll keep this off to the side. I think it's reversed. Is there a way I can switch that around? I don't think so. Hopefully, though, you can tell, at least by the cover art, what this is and if you recognize it. Okie doke. Let me do this. And do this. And get rid of the volume there. Okay, perfect. So, okay, that's cool. This actually does come with wooden eggs. Now, if you can believe, at one point, and it actually says it in the rule book, I think, maybe in the introduction. God, I think it comes with just punch out eggs as well. But it actually says in here somewhere that, okay, so Charles IV has been crowned king of Bohemia and ruler of the Holy Roman Empire. From his castle in Prague, he oversees construction of new fortifications, a bridge across the Vltava, maybe, river, a university, and a cathedral rising within the walls of the castle itself. Prague is already among the largest cities in Europe. Now, it says somewhere in here, I could have sworn, when they're building this, the bridge, what is the name of the bridge? Chris? Oh, thank you so much, Chris. I do truly appreciate that. Hopefully, and the Warlock tiles, oh my gosh. I can't wait to see their upcoming releases. I think Caverns can't be too far away, and that'll be super exciting. But, so I appreciate your comments, and hopefully I can remain as enthusiastic as someone can possibly be unpunching a board game. This is a heavy box. Look at this. Oh my gosh, look at all that. Now, this is the game board. The rest of this is multiple sheets of things to punch out. And thank goodness they gave baggies. They don't always give baggies. And we have some stuff to construct as well. I want to get this thing completely ready to go. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I thought somewhere in here there's a bridge that you are also building, and one of the resources to build the bridge is eggs. And so they explain somewhere in there that the reason for the eggs is that actually in the construction of this bridge, egg yolks were used in the mortar of all things. Can you believe that? I know it's in here. And apparently, this bridge is still standing, or at least had been standing for like 600 years or something like that. So, oh, here we go. Here we go. According to legend, eggs were an essential component of the mortar used to build Charles Bridge. The king demanded that cartloads of eggs be brought to Prague for construction. One village, confused by the king's request, sent their eggs hard boiled. So it may seem quaint to construct a bridge from such humble ingredients, but Charles Bridge has been standing for over 600 years, so don't knock the eggs. They gave us actual wooden eggs. We also have colorful cubes. I believe this plays up to 4. So there's 4 different colored cubes for the players. There are pawns, green, blue, red, and purple. There are 2 baggies of these, I don't even know what you would call them, but we're going to be putting together rondelles, and, you know, the top piece and the bottom piece need to be combined together. So there's just some plastic components for the rondelles. There's all these instructions for when we are ready to build the 3D models of the cathedral, as well as, is it a castle? No, it's a wall. The Hunger Wall. Here are a couple of player aids that show you how scoring works, and also how scoring when you're building cities works. And oh my gosh, there's a lot to this game for sure. But again, I'm so happy that they gave us baggies. All right, now it's time to pull out, and now we can actually start unpunching this thing. So hopefully this is all on camera. We're going to try to get this. So what should we do first? Should we try to put this thing together? Maybe I'll punch out the stuff and then put it together after we punch it out. Oh my God. Look at this. Now, first of all, this game board, when you fold it out, holy smokes, this is an absolute beast of a game board. Well, I guess when you look at it like on screen, it doesn't look too terribly large, but I mean, look at this. Holy smokes. You have the wheel that we're going to put over here. The 3D models of the cathedral and the wall go over here. You have all these tiles that we can choose from there. We have all of this down here where we can build buildings, and we can traverse along the King's Road where we're about to construct the bridge. And I mean, what's cool, and I love this art. Oh my gosh. Take a peek at this artwork. It's so tiny, and some people don't like the fact that it is so busy. Look at how busy this board is. It almost doesn't even look like a game board. It just looks like a gigantic picture. But even you will be putting a bridge over this, so you'll never actually see any of this during the game, but the artist still did that. So I thought that's kind of cool. But anyway, so yeah, I just decided to go live for this because I was like, I haven't posted in a while, and honestly, I can't think of anything that I'm about to post for the foreseeable future. I keep having game nights, and I'm like, maybe we should go live, or maybe we should record them and post them, but every time I do, it's with like someone I haven't gamed with in a while, and I don't know, I just feel so awkward when I'm like, hey, you know, would you mind if like we recorded this, or would you mind if I brought out my camera? Like, I don't know, it's so awkward. But anyway, so I was like, well, I'm going to punch this game. It's going to take probably a while because that's the game board. And then look at all of these counter sheets. There's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 13 punch boards here that we have to go through. And I was like, well, I can either do this and watch, like listen to another video. That's normally what I do when I'm punching components, is I'll just have another video on. But I thought, well, I could eat, and I talk to myself anyway, so I'm like, well, why not just talk and also make a video at the same time? Okie doke. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Here's the big wheel. This is the big ol' action wheel that's supposed to kind of depict a big ol' crane. And this will go right here. We'll smack that on there. Action tiles will go around it, and then every turn you rotate it, yeah, that in that direction. And action tiles you take from the red area are going to cost you. Green spaces where you take a tile from are going to be for free. And if you take a tile from blue, if somehow an action tile actually makes it around to where it's blue, you'll get victory points for taking that tile. It's like that tile was so undesirable. In order to encourage someone to take it, we're going to tack on some victory points if you take it. Thank you, Zima. I appreciate that. I know, I was like, I could either be listening to someone else talk or I could be talking myself. And, you know, that's what we went with. There's so many. And so here are some of the punch board eggs. And, of course, with me talking, this unpunching is going to take absolutely forever. So we have these wooden eggs, solid wooden 3D eggs, but they also did give us just the punch out flat two-dimensional eggs. Apparently the brown eggs are worth 3 eggs and the white eggs are just worth 1. Just like on the little cardboard punch out eggs, the plain ones are 1 egg a piece and the other ones are 3 eggs a piece. So I don't know. I like the whole 3D egg aspect of it, but it is kind of bizarre when the rest of your tokens and things are just the flat ones. I don't even know if the 3D eggs are something that everyone got or what. I just picked this up from my friendly local game store. I've already destroyed a corner, as you can see there. So that's awesome. But as long as the game remains intact, although it does kind of bother me because I do kind of, what do you call it? Like pride myself on the fact that I take normally good care of my stuff. I don't know if that actually already happened or what the case may be. Now we have, these are the gold variable tiles that half of these will go when you construct part of the bridge. You can take one of these and it gives you instant and end of game bonuses. I know there's no way you can actually see what it actually has on there. But again, I'm interested if anyone actually watches it. If you're watching this live and you've heard of this, please comment what you think of the game. I'm super excited to get this punched and actually play it. But if you're also watching this after the fact, when it's not live, please also comment if you've played the game and also enjoy it. I'm going to try not to go into too many game details as I'm punching this, just because, you know, I don't know if what I'm saying is actually going to make sense to anybody, but it's one of those things where it's so funny. I keep looking at the title of the video and it just makes me laugh because it seems like the most boring title of a video of all time. Unpunching board games live. Unreal. Now I'm pretty sure these pieces, are these the bridge? We are going to put the bridge together right now. So we have A1 and A2, and that's exactly what we need. But we also need like a half dozen A3s, which are right here. And again, we have 13, did I say, punch boards to go through. This is a big old beast. Oh, that's cool. They even have on the bridge itself which pieces go where. So let's go ahead and put this bridge together. I assume there is no insert in this box. This is literally the box when you take out the the game board, the rules, and the punch boards. It is just a completely empty box. There's no insert. That's how stacked with punch boards this game was. This game is not shying around. And honestly, that's probably a good thing, because sometimes I hate to say it, but I'll ditch the insert if things aren't fitting the way that I would like them to fit, especially when there are cards that I sleeve, because I sleeve every card, and if the sleeved cards do not fit in the insert. Now, sometimes you will get an awesome insert of a game that the sleeved cards will fit into the insert, and thank God bless the designers of the inserts that fit the cards when they're sleeved. That is absolutely awesome. But sometimes they don't fit, so we've got to ditch the insert because I gotta have my sleeved cards in there. But anyway, so there's no insert here, so hopefully all these 3D pieces and everything, I assume, fit fine. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. Let's do this. I'm already wanting to put this wheel to the game board. So here we go. And it tells me right here, I think that's what this means. We're looking for the top and bottom that was by itself in a little baggie, and not the baggie that apparently contained 8 of them. Is there 8 in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there was. So that's kind of a cool way to do it, because apparently they're different sizes. So how does this want this to go? It wants the receiving end. Look at this. How crazy is this? You will never see this when you're playing the game. There are 2 construction workers with their butt cracks hanging out, and you will never see it because we are permanently going to affix this wheel here. This wheel's never coming off of here. So you are seeing that little Easter egg right now, and this will be the last time, even me, that I ever see it, because we're about to stick this on there forever. So thank you, little construction workers. Zeem, see, I've done that too. I absolutely have made modifications to inserts before. I can remember specifically Century Spice Road. All of those cards, I got the tarot card size sleeves, and they just wouldn't fit. So I just cut a part of the insert off, and then the sleeved cards fit right in there. It was absolutely perfect. So see, yes, I am the exact same way. All right, here we go. Say goodbye to these 2 little construction workers, because we're never going to see them again once I put this wheel on here. Boom, it's done. We will never see them again. And now we're going to permanently fix it. Perfect. You hear a little snap, and it's done. The action selection wheel has been constructed. Boom. And now we'll never see those guys ever again. Isn't that crazy? But I love that they did that. It shows that it wasn't just thrown together. It shows that whoever was doing this actually did put some care into it. I freaking love that. All right, anyway, back to the bridge. Okay, so here is the bridge. And we do have these, and I should have looked at these. Were these A4 and A5? Yep. Awesome. Now these, yeah, these are cool because you can flip them over if you want. There's different sides. This game, if you want a point salad game where there are so many ways to get points and so many rewards, so many resource types, and this game has some of the most insane combination of resource types that's so funny. Like, you can see it on this wheel. Whenever you take one of these actions, you also get a corresponding benefit. And so the resources in this game include gold, stone. Okay, those 2 sound okay. Gold, stone, eggs, and windows. I mean, that's so bizarre, but yes, the resources in this game are gold and silver windows, as well as eggs, as well as stone and gold. You got your standard stone and gold, as well as eggs and windows. I mean, that just seems so random, but I love it. So here's the bridge that we are going to be trying to construct. And you can see these bridge tiles lay perfectly across and they snap right into place. Oh, how perfect is that? So when you get up to constructing the bridge, each section, there's a resource here, a resource here. These are all rewards. And when you build part of the bridge, you take one of the bridge tiles and put it on the bridge on top of some of these rewards. I'm trying to get the glare off of there. So if I took this bridge piece and laid it across the top here, I would get 2 gold and a red token. Now the token itself has rewards on it as well. So you'll take the rewards shown on the token, you will put them over any of these other 2 rewards that are on the bridge and take those as well. But from game to game, you can flip over these bridge tiles. So here was the way it looked now, but if you want, maybe next game you flip it over. Now there's a whole different set of rewards. And this is not the only way to change up the game. I know I'm taking so long because we still have 13 of these punch boards to go through. But as we go through this, we are going to find other ways to alter things and change up the rewards from game to game. We actually already unpunched some. Should we take a peek at this board again real fast? Because there are spots on this board. Look at this. And this is only 2/3 of the board. But along this King's Road, as you move along it, you'll get some different kinds of rewards. There are actually counters that you can put over top of the sections of this King's Road so that next game it's different. So next game, instead of being able to pay a gold for 4 victory points, you could, by just going here, get 2 victory points and 2 bumps up on your university track. And again, we're not going to go into all the rules of the game, but just to show you, we're not even through one thing, and we've already got so many ways to customize the game. Now here is the main player pieces, which are these. These show you the 6 different actions you can take on a turn, which is to build buildings in the city, to work your stone mine or collect stone, to contribute to building that gorgeous bridge that we already unpunched, to work your gold mine or get gold, to build a wall around this thing, or to upgrade one of these actions. So there are tiles in here we're about to see that'll overlap this. So in the future, if I wanted to build a wall, like right now, if I build a wall, there's nothing here, so I just build the wall. But there's a tile that'll go over this so that in the future, when I build a wall, I will build the wall and gain the benefit of whatever's on this tile. So you get to upgrade that as well. So everyone's player actions during the course of the game are going to change. So maybe you're mining for gold a lot because you improved your ability to mine gold. And maybe I'm focusing on stone. You never know. Oh my gosh. And here is one of these little tiles. I love how they like put a sampling. They put a sampling of the different components all on this first sheet. Because now I can show you. You may have been asking yourself, Rick, what the heck is going on with this wheel? Here is one of the action tiles. So there's going to be 6 of these. And they snap right into here. And so now this thing goes around. And now you can see on a turn, you're going to take one of these 6 action tiles and take it off of the wheel and do one of the 2 things that's on here. So for example, this one is run your stone production or build a building in the city. And so again, they correspond to the actions that are on here. Build a building in the city, run your stone production. So you take one of those tiles and do one of those two things, and then according to your player board, it'll let you know if what you're doing, if you've upgraded that action, maybe you'll get a boon for taking that action. Anyway, I could go on and on because this game just is just so cool, but it is so, there's so much going on. Holy smokes. You've got to really be a die-hard Eurogame fan to, first of all, even jump in the water of purchasing this game. This is a huge game. This was like $75 suggested retail price. And you can kind of see why. There's a lot of stuff here. Here's one of the other resources. We already said there's gold, there's stone, there are eggs, and there are little tiny windows. It's so funny to me, but it's thematic in the sense that the resources make sense for what you're trying to do here. But the player aid tells you how you can spend windows. You can spend a silver and a gold window or 2 gold windows in order to take another action. But instead of taking another action tile and choosing one of the sides, you just straight up take one of the actions around your player board. And so that's cool. You get these windows and you can cash them in to take a second action on your turn. But you can only do that once per turn. Or you can cash in 2 silver windows to move up the Cathedral and the Hunger Wall. And of course, we still have to build those, so we're not there yet. And I'm talking way too much because I'm only on... We just completed punching sheet 1. We are now 1 out of 13 sheets done. But what did we just unpunch? We unpunched these little wheels that are going to go on someone's player sheet. And I think the player sheets are more toward the bottom. But I do like how the backs of these... Are you kidding me? Look at this. Look at this. This is nuts. You see the backs of these wheels have little construction workers looking like they're trying to fix or build something. And you'll never see those again because the wheels go like this and they rotate around. So this side will always be down, and we're about to permanently affix them. So say goodbye to these little construction workers because we will never see them again. How crazy is that? And I like that they're color coded. So this will be for the purple player. This will be for the green player. All right, we're almost done with this sheet also. We have this. Now this is what? B8 and C6. Now what does that mean? Well, that's for 2 different things. It looks like B is what? The hunger? No. B is the Cathedral. B is the Cathedral. Well, maybe I want to hold off. We should do all of 1 at once. So let's do the Cathedral first, which is B. This is B8, and this is also B8. Okay. So these are B8. What do we do with the B8s? B8s are later. Actually, okay, and even these tiles are double-sided as well. So again, you can just absolutely change the way that you put this together. But anyway, so we are doing what? Where's the rest of the B's? Is that way down here somewhere? B's. Oh, those are the tech tiles. Those are the player boards. What? Oh my gosh. I was like, why are these so huge? They are not that huge from what I've seen of the game, but that's because you, I think I'm doing this right, you fold it and then but we'll punch out these things so it'll be dual layered. So that's one of my favorite concepts when someone is designing a game, these dual layered boards, and you have the cube and you keep moving the cube along the tracks. And I love it when they're dual layered so the cube sits inside of the player board. Oh, Love that. So that's why they're double-sided. So you can fold them, and now they are dual layered, and we can punch these out later. We're not even there yet, because right now we are trying to do something here. So these are B's. Those will be for the cathedral. Oh my gosh, does this say it actually wants us to glue it? Actually, it does say you could glue it. Ugh. I'd really rather not. So let's see how well it dry fits, and then if it's too loose, then we'll glue it. But anyway, so we're moving on now to this wall section. These are all C components. So we need CL, CR, C9, and C3. Here's CR, here's C9, and here's CL. And obviously that just means C left, C right, and C9 is just the one that's in the center. Okay. And it also tells us how it wants us to do this. So now we need 2 C3s. And that's going to be this guy, and that's also going to be this one. Thankfully, we're putting these together now, so the rest of the unpunching should go a lot faster. Boom, boom. Because what is this actually called? I keep calling it the hunger wall, but I swear it was spelled differently. Yeah, that is what it's called, the hunger wall. And that's what we're building, right? Yep. We are building the hunger wall right now. So we got that put together. And this is actually a pretty tight fit without glue. So that's a good sign. And then we'll put this guy in the middle. And look at that. It kind of took a little force to put it in there. So that should hold together just fine. Now we need 3 C4s. I'm sorry, C4, C2, C1. Here's C4, and these got to go in order. So here's C4. So C4 is going to go at, no, not there, here. C4, then C2, and then C1. And they're in order because it costs different resources to move up the wall, and we'll look at that in a second. C1 is all the way down at the bottom. Okay, cool. That is very sturdy. I like that. And you know, you actually don't even need these, because the board itself, and I know I keep bringing up the board, but the board itself has the track printed on it. So if you don't want to use this, because this will just stick right on top of the track, if you don't want to use this, you don't have to. You can just use the board that's printed there. However, there are variations to this print, because as you can see, that piece that's still punched down there, that'll be one of the levels that goes on here. But you could flip that over, and of course this piece goes into this thing eventually. So the one that's printed on the board is there forever, but the one that you will put in this hunger wall standee thing will be able to be reversible, so you'll have different ways you can do it. Okay, anyway, we need C8, C7, and C6. Now here is C6, and actually it looks like there's a couple different ones. There are 2 C6s here. So what does that mean? So here is C6, here is C7. Oh, there's an A and a B. See, there you have it. And it actually says it right on there too. So this is C6A, right? Yep. C6A, C7A, C8A. I think these are maybe not the ones it wants right now. Maybe these are alternate ones, because here's a whole nother set here, and these don't have the A with it. This was 7, 6, and 8. So what do we want? 6? I think that was this one. Yep, okay, thank Christ. I was going to be like, holy smokes, I've already forgotten which one was which. So this is C6, and this one will go on the first level of the wall. And then we have, see, oh my gosh, that's a perfect fit. There's no glue necessary here. And then here's C7. Boom. Oh, that's fantastic. And then C8 goes at the top. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And then C5 is the back wall. Perfect. Oh my goodness. How cool is that? Look at this. So here is the three-dimensional wall track. When you contribute to building the wall, you're going to be moving from, what is it? From right to left, bottom to top. And the higher up the wall you get, the more victory points you'll be getting at the end of the game. And for every space to the left you move, that column is going to make all of your blue tokens. I don't know if we've actually talked about those yet, but multiplied however many blue tokens you have by the victory points across the top. And as you can see, you could just use the 2D printed track on the board, or boom, you can put this on there. How cool is that? I absolutely love that. Especially for what, some may consider just a dry Euro, the fact that they have some cool 3D components. Someone asked Rado during his live run-through of this game if he thought the 3D components were gimmicky. And he flat out said no. And I think his wife Jen said the same thing. Okay, I kind of want to put the cathedral together before we start punching out all this other stuff. So here it is, folks. Here is the punch board with all the cathedral pieces on it. So let's start punching this one. So this is where all the B's come in. We need BL, we need BR, and we need B9. So here's R, here's L, and here's D9. Now the other thing is these have little tiny windows in them you want to punch out. Also, if anyone went to Gen Con, let me know. Actually, don't let me know, because I'll be insanely jealous. You know how financially irresponsible I would have been if I was at Gen Con? Holy smokes, I'd be in the vendor hall from open till close every single day. I would need a shopping cart, and I would just go from booth to booth, and I would be completely bankrupt by the time I left that place. Just all the cool handmade things, new release games, dice bags, all sorts of stuff. All right, anyway. So here we go. We have the main components for the cathedral here. Now we need B6, B7, and B8. So where are those at? Here we go. B6, B7, B8. Let's make sure we get these in the right order. B6 on the bottom. Here's B7. Oh, that's B7A and B6A. So where is... This was the one we took out right toward the beginning. This was B8 without the A. And that goes across the top. Oh wait, first we're getting ahead of ourselves. We need two B3s. So let's get the B3s and do this. All right, so here we go. You're putting together the cathedral. And I have no doubt that it's going to look just as impressive. And I saw in this instruction sheet that all of these 3D models do fit right into the box. So you don't need to take them apart or anything, which I guess was implied by the fact that they actually recommend that you glue this together. I don't know if that meant that, because it has a little glue thing there. I don't know if that's saying that it wants you to glue it, or just that if you wanted to somehow permanently affix it, that's okay. Because there are parts on here that say do not glue, and so those components, you know, are interchangeable. There's so many ways to vary the game. Oh my gosh, I already forgot what I'm doing. So we have B8. B8. Oh my gosh. Those weren't even windows. Those were little slots. Are you serious? Those were little slots to actually put this. Okay, that's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, so B8 goes across the top. Then B7 goes one step down. And then lastly, B6 goes on the bottom step. Boom. Okay, so we've got it. All right, so now what? Now we need B1, B2, and B4. We have them right here. B1, and that goes on the bottom. Then B2. Are these labeled at all? Thankfully, they actually do say 1, 2, and 3 on them. Otherwise, knowing me, I'd probably mess it all up. All right, so here's what is it? 8, I guess. Here's B8. And then, oh, they actually are called, no, it was B1, B2, B4. So this one was B4. This one is B2. And then we've got B1, and we've got it made partially. Awesome. The way these cardboard components went together is absolutely fantastic. This is solid. No glue, no nothing, and this went together really, really nice. Now we need B5, which is the backboard of the cathedral. And then I think that's it. Nice. Is that in all the way? I think so. So that is the finished cathedral. So here's the cathedral. Here's the hunger wall. They each have their own tracks. And again, you don't even need this. This is just for fun because the tracks are printed on the game board and these will just sit on top. How crazy is that? How cool is that? Of course, you'll fold the other side out. I don't have that other side up right now. But those will just sit there, and you can do it 3D like that, or you could just do the ones that are printed on here. But again, the ones printed on there stay that way forever. The ones that are on here, you can actually slip these new things in here. I think right on top. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? You don't even need to take it apart. So you want some variability from game to game? Replace this top track with this one and it just slips right in there. Or flip it over and there's another side. There's 3 different sides. Oops. 3 different tracks. And all the levels have different tracks. And of course, again, you don't even need to actually put them on these tracks. Technically, you could do this. If you want to be boring, you could just lay them on here and replace the ones that are printed on there with just the stationary ones. That's kind of cool. But I love the 3D ones. I mean, why wouldn't you want to use these? These are so cool. And when you actually move up to the next level, you're literally climbing up the steps. That's just so cool. All right, so anyway, and here are the other ones. So the cathedral has front and back additional tiles. The hunger wall has front and back additional tiles. So these are just extra ways to make things more variable. And folks, we have now completed our 4th punch board. We still have 9 left. But here we go. Here's the 4 that we've done so far. Look at all those pieces. Can you believe it? Whew. All right. Now let's just start punching this stuff. Oh my gosh. There's so many components. Let's just do it. I'm going to do one type at a time. And these are fantastic. These are so thick. They're great. Great quality tiles. And they're just falling out of the punch board, which is exactly what you want to see. Now, these are all different city tiles. Are there special ones of these too? Yes, there are. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play this game. So when you're building buildings in the city, there are 2 eras. Like the first half of the game is in the first era. The second half of the game is considered the second era. And all the different buildings that you can build are either era 1 or era 2. And in each era, there are mundane buildings and special buildings. So there's mundane and special era 1 buildings, mundane and special era 2 buildings. And yeah, once you move into era 2, you wipe all the era 1 buildings that haven't been used yet away. Those are done, and you replace the supply with the era 2. So we have a big old stack here of buildings. Let's bring this back. Are these buildings too, or are these walls? No, these are walls. I'm pretty sure these are the wall pieces. We talked about that earlier. That's one of the actions you can take, is to build a wall. And these wall sections go around your player action board. How cool is that? So as you build these wall sections, you're going to be building it around, and they don't have to touch. You can build one up there, one there. Why? Because they have, I won't even get it. There's so much going on in this game, but there are corners of these buildings that you might be able to see are different colors, like those 2 are red. And so if you have 2 connected like that, say, where those 2 red corners of the tiles are touching, boom, you just scored yourself a red token. And again, climbing up on this cathedral and moving from left to right, depending on where your marker ends up being at the end of the game, each of your red tokens are going to be worth either 1 point apiece, 2 points apiece, 3 points apiece, or 4 points apiece. So as far over as you get in the cathedral increases the amount of points you get for each red token. And you get a red token for when you build these walls and the red corners touch each other. And actually, when there are upgrade tiles that you put over the actions on your player board, they'll also have these red corners. You get 1 red token when 2 red corners touch, but if somehow you can do it so that you get a 3rd tile that also has a red corner, boom, you just got another 2 red tokens. Anyway, I know that probably means nothing to anyone who is like, what the hell is even this game? But oh my gosh, folks, if you are into kind of crunchy Euro games, this one just absolutely grabbed my attention, and I was like, man, that sounds so freaking cool. And then I watched several tutorials and the live playthrough that Rado did. Now, I'll be honest, Rado did not sound like he was having the best time as he was playing that game. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to punch out some of these windows. Now they're white, but they're actually considered silver. But how funny is that? Again, the resources in this game are gold, silver, eggs, and windows. I mean, that's so funny. But anyway, yeah, Rada didn't sound like he was having the best time during the game. He made a mistake, and it was costing him turn after turn. And he verbally and physically showed that he was not having the best time. But in the end, he actually did really well. And he was like, yeah, sometimes I just get flustered, which I understand. But man, I was worried for a little bit. But we haven't even unpunched the player boards yet. Eventually, we're going to see some player boards. We have a bunch more windows I'm punching out here. And should we start bagging some of these things? Oh, thank goodness they gave us a ton of baggies. However, oh my gosh, these are some of those baggies that absolutely annoy the buns off of you, because the strength of the plastic itself is weaker than the Ziploc hold. So when you grab the sides and you try to open it, you're stretching the plastic because the Ziploc lock is stronger than the strength of the plastic. So you got to be super careful when you open these. These are super flimsy. And that's kind of a pain. But of course, like any good board gamer, I have a huge supply of Ziploc baggies, so if this ends up not working out the best, I can always grab some of those. But it's just super nice that they gave us, like, I don't even know how many of these baggies. Good Lord. But we're going to need them. There are a lot of components here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They gave us 12 of these bags, not including the bags that some of the other components already came in. But again, look at that. Oh, you got to be really careful because you're going to tear the plastic just trying to open the baggie. Oh my gosh, that's annoying. But I'm going to use them for now. All right, so we got windows. We have eggs. Well, we have silver windows. We have eggs. I'm keeping the silver and gold windows separate. I don't know if we have enough baggies to actually do that in the end, but for now, we are keeping them separated. And then we have these little tiny tiles I didn't even talk about yet, these little tiny things. We'll maybe talk about those once we get into the actual player boards, because these little tiles make taking action on your player boards even better. So you do have this kind of action board, but you also have a main player board where you store your resources, your gold and silver. And every time you run your gold mine or your silver, or not gold and silver, gold and stone, every time you run your gold mine, you'll get the gold that you're up to. Plus, if you have any little upgrades to the mine, that's what these little tokens are. They'll upgrade your stone production as well as your gold production. Okay, so anyway. Now let's do one of these little bags for the blue tokens. Oh my gosh, just talking about this game and unpunching this game makes me want to play this game right now. Which I probably will. After we're done punching everything out, I probably won't do it live, but I am going to at least do a solo run through. Hal, good to see you, sir. Thank you all so much for popping in. Everything is absolutely going fantastically. I hope everything for you is also. I mean, when you are unpunching a new board game, that's one of my favorite things to do. Now, I will say this isn't that new of a game. It came out last year, and I've had it on my shelf for at least several months, and before I even purchased it, I heard about it. I can't even tell you what the reason was I even decided to search for this, because this seems like the most random game. Praga, Caput, Regni. I'm probably absolutely slaughtering the pronunciation of that name. What even was it? Because you look at this board, and it is the most busy, crazy looking board. Look at all this. You wouldn't even know what the heck's going on here. Vladimir Suchi is the designer. So as soon as you hear that name, you know, okay, that's a well-known Euro designer. I can't remember if maybe because I'm subscribed to Rado, if I saw his live play, but even then, he does lives all the time. I don't tune into every single one. I have no clue what drew me to this game, but something caught my attention. I started watching tutorials and playthroughs, and I said, oh my gosh, that looks super crunchy, but I was intrigued, and I added it to my wish list. And then I bought it, and now here we are, unpunching it months later. And the spark reignited because I have some new shelves over here. It's not a new shelf, but it's a small shelf. It's a small shelf where I have more recently acquired games, and I actually kind of have them on the shelf from top, the ones that I really want to play, and then games that I kind of have an urgency to play, and then ones at the bottom where I've played those and they're good, but they're not at the top of the shelf. And this was one that has been sitting there, and I was like, God, I need to get that played. The problem with me is the people I play games with, when I have a game night with my friends, it just seems so different than like a game night with your gaming friends. Like, I'm the only one in my circle of friends who collects games and who plays games with any regularity. So when I have a game night, especially if it's been a while with this particular group, because I'll have several different groups, and if this group of friends, we haven't had a game night in a while, it's probably going to be lighter games. Maybe I'll throw in kind of a light mid-weight game, but something like this, oh my gosh, there are very few friends who would be even up to wanting to even have anything to do with a game of this weight. And this isn't even a super heavy game. It's not as heavy as like CO2. I don't know, you can't see CO2. But Rado said that he didn't even think this one was as heavy as Agricola. And I'm like, really? Because I thought Agricola, I wouldn't say Agricola's light, but I didn't think Agricola was mid to high Euro, maybe just a mid Euro. I thought this one was heavier than Agricola because this one has so many moving parts, where Agricola is, okay, move a person, it's a worker placement, move a person, take an action, collect resources, build your farm. You want to grow vegetables, get livestock, build fences, improve your house, expand your family. You have to feed your people at the end of each harvest, and the harvest, the amount of turns each harvest gets shorter and shorter, so you have less and less time to feed your family. I get the idea that it may be harder to do well in that game because you don't want to go into debt not feeding your family, and you want to kind of get a little bit of everything because you lose points for all the different things that you haven't done. So I kind of get the stress and the urgency of Agricola, but I don't think that makes it heavier than this, where this game, oh my gosh. I wouldn't say that this one's super, super heavy either, because, and you can't see it, but CO2, I think, is the heaviest game that I own. Actually, I think Magic Realm may be the heaviest game that I own, but there's no way I'm going to play Magic Realm anytime soon. But CO2, of the games that I have played and that I've played with a group of friends, CO2's, I think, the heaviest game. This is not as heavy as CO2. But I also don't think it's as heavy. I also think it's heavier than Agricola, to be honest. Just because Agricola, you move a worker and you collect resources, and you can spend those resources using other actions. And that's kind of it. Now, the way that using resources and what you're trying to do, you have to keep in mind multiple things, but there's not a whole bunch of different interacting parts like in this game, where I don't even want to even know where to begin on this thing. This thing's crazy with this action wheel, this rondelle. You have these action tokens, and they'll be moving around. Now you choose one of the action tokens. You'll either get nothing for taking it, you'll either get victory points if they've made it all the way over here, or you'll have to pay if they're more recently moved around this side. Plus you get a benefit for the action token you take, and then the action token has 2 actions on it. You choose one and do it, and then based on your own personal player action board, if the action you take has been improved in any way, then you have to keep that in mind. and you're trying to collect resources to build walls that go around the outside of your action thing, and it has different orientations because you're going to want to line up these different colored edges and get benefits based on that. And doing that will let you move up either this track or this track, and there will be different points for those things. And there's all these buildings that you build out in the city portion of the big board, and that gives you bonuses. And then there's this whole bridge that gives you bonuses. So I'm like, there's so much going on here that I just don't know how anyone, of course, he is way more of an expert at board games than I will ever be. So the fact that he thinks Agricola is heavier than this, that just, I think maybe our definition of heavy is different. Maybe that's what it is. Because this seems like it is way heavier. Agricola was the very first designer board game I ever played back in like 2009, 2010. That's what got me into the board game hobby, was Agricola. So I was a newbie. I was coming from Monopoly and Clue and then right into Agricola. And I loved it. I never even played the basic game of Agricola that comes in the box. I straight up played with the major, minor improvements, the occupations, all of that. And I was able to get that pretty quickly because, again, you're just putting workers, collecting things, and spending them. Now, of course, maybe it had taken a few plays to actually get a decent score in Agricola, but, you know, based on the people I was playing against, I was winning games even back then. But so anyway, what are we punching out here? I think these are all improvements. Yes. So as we talked about this earlier, your little action board, and we punched out the rest of the little double-sided action tiles that are all going to be placed in this action wheel that spins around. And then you're going to take one of these action tiles and choose a side. And all the sides of these little action tiles correspond to one of the 6 actions on your action board. And there are these improvement tiles you can buy. So then you can buy one of these and pop it on here. So for example, here's the one that allows you to run your stone mine to gather stone, or you can improve the efficiency of your stone mine for future turns. However, doing that when it's unmodified, unimproved, gives you no bonuses. This is an example of an improvement tile that you can purchase, and it permanently replaces the one underneath it. Now, there's other tiles here that also are for that same spot, and you can absolutely do that, and it just replaces the other upgrade you did. But this one now, so before you could improve your mine or collect stone. Now with this improvement tile added on there, you can improve your mine, collect stone, but every time you do that, you collect a stone and a victory point. How sweet is that? And there are improvement tiles for each of your actions. But not only that, you'll notice that by improving that tile, it now has this red corner space. And what were we just talking about when you're building walls? That's why the orientation of how you turn the tile matters, because now if I build a wall, I'm going to want to build it right here. And now 2 red corners are touching, and boom, that's a red token we just earned. Not only that, but there are other little icons that are on the flat side. So now I'm going to want to put a tile over here that has something on this flat side. So I'll get a gold coin and whatever the other side of the flat side bonus is. Also, for doing this improvement, I go up 2 spaces on my own university track. So I'm like, there's so much stuff going on. There's nothing that crazy going on in Agricola. Agricola just seems to me miles simpler than this. Then here's these other little tokens that'll improve your gold production and your stone production tracks. Oh boy. But I love Rado. I absolutely love Rado, 100%. I think we're kind of kindred spirits because we love talking to ourselves. And I can run through a game by myself and I talk to myself and, oh, what would Jen do? And, oh, what would Smith do? And whatever. So we got some more red here. So now we can finally start putting red tokens into their own little baggie. And here's some more blues. And now look at this. We just cleared off another one of these. Now there's so many tokens on these sheets and some of them blend in with the background of the punch board that I'm going to go through the rest of these counter sheets and make sure that we didn't miss any. Look at this. Holy smokes. These are all different walls. Look at all the walls. How crazy is that? We already had some walls out here. There's a few more walls here. Look at all these wall tiles. Again, some of these are for era 1, some of these are for era 2. Oh my gosh, but they all do something. They all give you, well, most of them give you an immediate benefit, as well as there's a gold at the end of the game. I think, is it on this track? One of these gives you some bonus for however many walls you built. It may be on this thing. I know, I've pulled this board up 1,000 times. Look at this. Is this it? No, that's not it. There's also these seals here. And we'll get into the player board in a second, but if you ever max out your ability to mine stone or mine gold, you'll get a cube you can put on one or two of these seals. And these seals mean at the end of the game, every coin you have left is 2 points. Every stone you have left is 2 points. Every single stone and coin you have is 3, or just a flat up 6 victory points right then and there, or 4 victory points. Those two don't cost you anything extra. You just put your cube there as soon as you max out mining or gold or stone. But this one costs a silver window. This one costs 2 silver windows. So again, that's just another layer. And I haven't even talked about all the layers. So yeah, there's just a lot going on in this game, but that's why I want to get it to the table while it's fresh in my mind. That's what I do when I'm like playing a heavy Euro game, or I have CO2, which I keep talking about. CO2 is I don't know if it's my number 1 or number 2 favorite game of all time. It's definitely top 5. It's right there with Agricola. But CO2 does take a bit of a rules refresh to make sure I got everything down, because it will be a while between plays. Look at this huge stack of wall tiles. There's so many walls here. Oh my gosh. And then we haven't even talked about putting these buildings into play. When you build the walls, you get to go up on the wall track. When you put these buildings out into the city, any of them that have the cathedral icon is what allows you to move along the cathedral track. But that's only part of it, because you're going to try to build your buildings around these plaza tiles. These plaza tiles are going to be randomly put out around the city. And once a plaza tile is completely surrounded by buildings, more victory points get scored. So I mean, there's so much. And it's all fresh in my mind right now. Which is why I want to get it to the table while it's still fresh in my mind. But it was at least partially fresh in my mind when I first got the game. But some games you look at how many components there are and stuff, and then you just get mentally exhausted before you even begin. And so it takes a little motivation to really get to the point where you want to get it to the table. And the first step in doing that is getting everything punched. Because there's nothing worse than wanting to get a game to the table and then open the box and it's unpunched and you got to do all this. So we got to do this now, which is why we are doing this literally now. And I appreciate we've had up to like 12 people at one time here, which I think is just fantastic, especially with that title, the title of the video. I can't get over that. I think it's so funny. Unpunching Board Games Live. I mean, if that title doesn't absolutely attract a crowd, I don't know what else will. Now we got some more of these wheels, and don't forget, remember we looked at some of these earlier. See how that's how it should be. As soon as you acquire the game, rip off that shrink, punch it out, sleeve the cards if you're a sleever. I'm a sleever, you may not be a sleever. Sleeve the cards, get everything ready so that when the motivation hits you to want to play that game, you're ready, you're set. All the components are good to go. I still haven't learned that lesson though. I still have Gaia Project over there that is still in shrink. I still have the Wingspan expansions still in shrink. Or is that just the Eastern one? Or the European one? I don't even think I have Oceania. I think I just have the European expansion. It's still in shrink. The Quacks of Quedlinburg Herb Witches expansion is still in shrink. What else is in shrink? Hallertau. Hallertau is still in shrink. I think Bonfire is still in shrink. I went on a big, heavy Euro shopping spree a few months ago, and I got Gaia Project. I picked up Hallertau, Bonfire, and this all in one go. And because I was in some kind of weird, heavy Euro like mood, I also picked up Clans of Callendale. Now that one I played almost immediately upon getting it. And that was fun. There was a part of scoring in Clans of Caledonia where I can't remember what they're called, like settlements, and you have to score them based on, they have to be separate though. And the rules and like online videos made it seem way more complicated than it was. And that may be one of the reasons why it took me a while to actually pick up Clans of Caledonia, despite the fact that I heard it was amazing. But I kept hearing, yeah, this settlement scoring is a little wonky. But then I read the rules and I was like, I get it. I get what the people mean when they were trying to explain how it works, but really I didn't really hear any really good explanations. But then once I read the book, I was like, oh, that's what they meant, and I can see where they were going, but it's actually much simpler than I thought it was. But the game itself was pretty fun, because I liked when you put things out and it unlocks things on your player board as the more you put out. I like that concept for sure. But anyway, back to what I was about to say about this is these little wheels here. So you can see these are the sides that are going to be attached to your player board, but on the back of them, they have these little workers, and you'll never see those again. Once we permanently attach these to the player boards, this side down, you'll never see those. So that's really cool. So what is Robert saying? Don't do it. Buy a replacement set so you can keep the... Oh no, don't encourage that. Oh my gosh, believe me, I have some games that I have duplicate copies of just because I thought they would end up being like cult classics or high in demand, and I'd have my copy, but I'd also have a collector's copy. Not that I would ever sell it, because you know me and hoarding things. I have every gaming material piece that I've ever had in my entire life, because I can never ever get rid of anything. So even the second, and sometimes, I hate to say it, third copy of something that I've picked up, I still have those, and I have no intention of ever getting rid of them. Guy on YouTube, math test. Oh my gosh, don't even bring math up right now. I don't envy you at all, but I do say good luck and hopefully you do well. God, I can't even remember how long ago my last math class was. Jeez, that was back in college, which would have been 2000, maybe 12 or 13. My last math class was maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Toughest part, keeping collector's copy, full well knowing you'll never stop. Yeah, I know, exactly. Cameron, hello. Thank you, all the way from the United Kingdom. So what are you, 7 hours ahead? So what would that be? Geez, is it like almost 1 or 2 a.m. over there right now? Or is my math way off? No, that's probably about right. But greetings and calculus. Oh my gosh. Now that makes me feel a little better about dissecting a rule book that is literally 20 pages long. And there's a lot of text in here. Now, there are a lot of fantastic full color images as well. But of course, I learn mostly by watching tutorials and playthroughs on YouTube. But hearing that you're doing calculus definitely makes me feel a little bit better that my stressful thing to do today is unpunch this board game. We started out with 13 of these punch boards, and how long have I even been live for? I've been live for over an hour. How long? That's probably really bad. Yes, it's 1:45 in the morning over there. I knew it. Man, you are up. And this is a Wednesday, so that's Thursday morning and you're up that late, Cameron? Look at this. These are all the ones that we've unpunched so far. This is 8 punch sheets. That's not good. My pace is not good because we've been live for over an hour and I've only unpunched 8 punch sheets. But anyway, those little dials, they have these little people on the back of them and we'll never see them again once we attach that to the player board. All right, but anyway, so we have some more eggs here. So for those just joining us, again, this is Praga, Caput, Regni, and that is probably not at all how you pronounce it. But it is Charles IV in Prague. Charles IV, right? Yep, Charles IV, crowned King of Bohemia and the ruler of the Holy Roman Empire. And we are doing our best to gain his favor by building buildings, moving up the cathedral, building walls, building Charles Bridge, building Charles University, all sorts of crazy things. And there are so many ways. If you're a fan of point salad games, now I mostly hear point salad related to like Stefan Feld games, but of course there's a lot of Euro designers who also have lots of different ways to score points and can also be attributed to point salad. This is definitely a point salad game. Holy smokes. There's a whole laundry list of ways you can score points. Now this makes it seem kind of short, but there actually is a lot going on here. So you score points based on buildings you've built around, what are these things called? Not markets. I just said it not 10 minutes ago. What did I call these? Pavilions? That doesn't sound right, but okay, so anyway, building buildings around pavilions, your university track, the things you've donated to the cathedral, the things you donated to the wall, tokens you've generated, which are now worth points, how many walls you built. This is what I was looking at earlier when I was like, okay, so where was that thing about how many walls you built? Here you go. 3 walls is 4 points. 4 walls is 10 points. And 6 or more walls is 18 points. Can you imagine, though, building 6 walls? How many spaces do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think. So I guess that's not too bad. If you have 12 spaces around your thing to build walls, you only need to build half. And then, of course, points for any of those these things that you have at the end of the game. And then last but not least, eggs. Any leftover eggs? Because that's right, in this game, the 4 resources are stone, gold, windows, and eggs. That just seems like you hear the first two, oh, typical Euro resources, and then you hear, and windows. Windows and eggs. Eggs? What? Oh, eggs. It must mean food. Just a resource for food. No. Eggs were used in the construction of the bridge because the egg yolks were mixed in with the mortar. And the bridge has been, that's a real life bridge. Charles Bridge, been standing for 600 years because there's eggs in the mortar. How crazy is that? Hal, don't care how many you have punched. Some of us just appreciate having folks to hang out with in these strange times. Absolutely. 100% agreed. However, I would like to get the rest of these punched. I may still do that. You know what? Because I was like, oh my gosh. When I decided to unpunch this on a live video, I was like, well, I could do what I normally do, which is turn on a YouTube video of someone else and just listen to it. I love the game night episodes from Board Game Geek. Those are some of my favorite gameplay videos. And I'll watch even the same ones over and over again just because I love the camaraderie. But so I would put one of those on as I punched out a game. But so I thought, well, maybe I'll do it like this, and then I can like talk while I unpunch the game. Okay, we're not doing this yet. Oh my gosh, look at this. We are down to just the player boards, but also these technologies. I don't think they're called technologies. What are these called? They are called, yeah, they are technologies. See, I did recall something correctly. But we have to punch out all of these little tiny things from all the player boards now. Because these player boards are double-sided. No, not double-sided. They are double-layered. So when you put your cube in the slot, I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, I just knocked over all my wall tiles. When you put your cube in the slot, it stays in place because these are dual layered player boards, folks. And if there's one thing that I absolutely love as an advancement in board game engineering in the last, I don't know, how long has dual layered player boards been around? I'm sure there's one-off situations where a player board has been dual layered in a game 20 years ago, but look at this. Look how cool this is. Can you see how there's a recessed area in there now? So as you move your cube along, it's going to stay in there. And of course, there's symbols inside of there as well. So when you pass those, you'll get those as well. Same with these tracks on the side. Oh my God, I love it. And look how they do that. Look how they did this. I think it's actually pretty cool. Because here is the player board thing, and then they have you fold it over, and then boom, and it'll stay this way because we're about to put those dials in here, and it'll permanently be put that way. So this is green. So where are our little plastic dials at? Here they are. I don't even know what I was saying. Was I saying something? There's a lot going on in this game, for sure. But that's one of the reasons why I absolutely was drawn to it, because there's so much you can do. So I want to get the right color dials. It must be these. So they're green, and this is the green player board. And see, there's these little workers on the back of these dials, but these dials are going to be permanently affixed like this. So you are never going to see these little people ever again. All right, say goodbye to those little people because we're about to put them on here. So let me make sure I'm putting them on right. So we have a gold dial and we have a stone dial. And I assume this tells us how to do it. So it wants the receiving side to come up through the bottom like this. So the receiving part of this joint, or whatever you want to call it, comes up through the bottom. Nice. And then we'll put the gold dial on here. And then we are going to put the top on. And this will keep it in place. Perfect. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. So now you can keep track of how much gold you have. And the other cool thing is there are cubes that'll go into the recessed areas here, here, and here. And you'll notice this has this little lever, and that's on purpose because once this lever gets up to here, there'd normally be a cube here, and the cube would stop this lever from going any further. But once you get up here and you want to get more gold, you take that cube out, you get the reward that was under there, and then you can continue moving. And so the stone one has the same thing, and then they both have this one. Once you ever get ready to max out either one of those resources, there's another cube there you'll take out, get that reward. And those cubes are important because, oh God, those cubes are important because you need those cubes to be able to claim these seals. And how do you do that? Well, on your player board, on the very end of the gold track and the stone track, there are these little seal symbols. Once you get to those spots, it'll allow you to claim one of these seals. But you can only do that if you have extra cubes. And the only way to get extra cubes, you start out with 2, but if you want more, you've got to get your gold past a certain point, you got to get your stone past a certain point, and then there's one mutual one to get those. And those aren't the only ways you're going to need to use your cubes, because also when you're building these buildings, some of these buildings have a spot for a cube to denote ownership, because once one of these plaza tiles, that's the word I was looking for earlier, plaza tiles, once one of these plaza tiles gets buildings completely surrounding it, it's time to score. And the person who controls with their cube on the most buildings gets both rewards. And so that's a big deal. So yeah, you need cubes. And again, that's just another way I think it's way more, way heavier. I don't know, way heavier, but heavier at least than Agricola. That's just so interesting to me because I love, and I normally 100% agree with everything Rado says. But Agricola being heavier than this, I just don't know. I just don't know. And I know Agricola's in his top 5. I'm pretty sure at least it was. Agricola is one of his favorite games of all time. And this was, what was this? Was this number 4? I think this may have been number 2 or number 4 favorite game for him of 2020. So this was way up there as well. Okay, perfect. We have these dials in place. I know you start out with 2. Everything is so well done in this game. This is Rio Grande Games and Delicious Games. And I'm telling you folks, the component quality of this game is delicious. Everything has gone together so well. The cathedral, the wall, these are solid components. They're not going anywhere. The tiles are super thick. They gave you these wooden eggs and dual layered player boards and these dials that are they are not loose. That's the thing. You don't want these loose tiles that'll be spinning all over the place with a flick of the finger. These aren't going anywhere unless you actively move them. So the component quality of this game is fantastic. Okay, anyway, we still have more to unpunch. And then we have all these technologies. Oh boy. And there's 4 different stacks of these technologies. Looks like there's either 2 benefits. There's either going to be a permanent benefit that you can use for the rest of the game, or there's a one-time use benefit that you can use immediately, or at least during your turn at some point. And the way you get those is you notice on these tracks, and we looked at this just a second ago, that there are icons underneath your cube. So as you progress up this track, you're going to be hitting these icons. As you progress up this track, you're going to hit those icons. At the end of the game, you multiply the number on this track by how many victory points you've managed to go up on this track, and then that is one of your scores. And the icons underneath the spaces on this track correspond to the level of technology that you can unlock. And there's up to 4 of them. So just again, there's so much going on. I need to get this played before I forget everything. So now we are unpunching the player board for the color red. My favorite player color, you know what? It's kind of dependent on the colors available. I like black, and I will like blue if it's this kind of a blue. See how this is kind of like a light blue, like almost like a baby blue? That's my favorite color of blue. If it's like a navy blue, I'm not a huge fan of a dark blue. But overall, I really like black, but I've come to also like yellow. Why? Because it seems like not a lot of people like yellow, and for some reason, I always seem to be contrarian a lot of times. I play devil's advocate a lot. If there's something that a bunch of people don't like my mind almost kind of draws me to that. So like unpopular things, I'll like it just because it's unpopular. Not all the time, but like with player color at least, yellow seemed to have always been the least picked color for my group. And then I just started to like yellow. And then I would go out of my way to pick yellow. All right, so now we got red, and now we've got to attach these red dials. So we're going to do the same thing the same way. We are going to put that through there. And don't forget to say goodbye to these little workers who are on the bottom of these dials, because once we put this dial on here, we're not taking this apart ever again. So we will never see those little images of workers ever again. Perfect. That dial went on amazingly well, and we're going to do the same thing with the stone one and pop that one on. And now time to seal it up. And then we will move on. It looks like we just have a couple more player boards and then some more technologies, and we will be done. And I know it's taken how long to do this? How long has this been going on for? I don't even know. Like an hour and a half or something like that? Jeez, that's insane. All right, well, we're almost done. So, okay, here we go. Now the blue player board. This will probably be the player board that I choose. Because if I have a least favorite player color, it's green. I'm trying to think. Is there a shade of green that I'd be okay with? No, not really. Whether it's a neon green, a dark forest green, either way, I'm not a fan of green. Red, I can take or leave red. Purple, I really would rather not. So in this game, I'm probably going to be this blue color. Okay, so that one's done. Look at that. And well, I guess it's the same image. I was going to say, you also don't ever get to see the rest of this anymore because we are going to permanently snap it up. But it's the same image if you see that. So that's not too big of a loss. But it's so funny because we do have those two workers there that you will never ever see again on each of these dials. So now we need the blue dials, which are these. Now see, this blue looks different kind of. The outer edge of those dials blue, that's a dark blue. So now let's pop these on. You know what, Zim? I may do this again because, like I said, I have multiple heavy euros that I bought and are sitting there unpunched, and they are probably going to remain that way until we do something about that. So, if I ever want to get them played, I got to get them punched first. So we better get a move on. Okay, so now we are going to pop these in here, and I'm already seeing a potential issue. I think I'm missing the backs of 2 of the dials. I only have the fronts of the last 2, I think, unless they're in here somewhere mixed in with something. But at least we got the blue one done because that's the most important one. But we're still going to need 2 more backs for the purple one. Blue's done, green's done, red's done. And now, but yeah, so I was thinking, well, I have these other games. I have Bonfire, Hallertau, Gaia Project. What else? Anything else? I think I already unpunched Terramara. So that's done. But yeah, I still have at least 3-ish heavy euros over there that I have not unpunched. So I may do another live Unpunching Board Games Live. And I have to clean all this up and bag it up. There's still a whole bunch of baggies, and there actually wasn't that many different types of things, unless they have me split, unless I store these tiles split up. So for example, I might store these walls, Era 1 walls, Era 2 walls, Era 1 special walls, Era 2 special walls, and do the same thing with the upgrade tiles, Era 1, Era 2, and a special for each, and the building tiles. I know. I feel bad for the workers too, but don't worry, we can let them, if we start like at 2 in the morning, we start hearing screams from downstairs in the game room, like the workers just are, suffocating or something, we can run down here and undo the dials. All right, these are the last little punches. Look at all these things. You could almost use these little tiny colored punched pieces as tokens. Don't worry, I'm not that big of a hoarder, but I bet there's someone out there. Oh, look, I found one of the backs. Oh man, but I don't know where the other back is. So this is the purple gold dial. See, it was probably the workers who were trying to misplace the dials so that I wouldn't end up finding them. So they wouldn't get covered up. This is the last one. These are the last workers on this dial, but I can't find the other part of the dial. I think it may be missing unless it's mixed in here somewhere. All right, folks, my battery is about to die, and we just finished unboxing everything. So either the camera's going to cut off, or at the very least, I can show you the stack of all these 13 counter sheets. How crazy is that? That's absolutely nuts. So that was the unpunching of Praga Caput Regni. Probably absolutely slaughter that pronunciation. We've unpunched it. Now it's time to start playing it. I can't wait. May do another one of these with Hallertau, Bonfire, Gaia Project. So, and I'll maybe schedule it earlier. I know this one I just thought about doing it, so I did it. And I know there wasn't a lot of time to prepare or schedule it or let people know in advance, so I apologize for that. You're so welcome, Hal. I probably will. So thank you all so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And until next time. And what time is it anyway? It's almost an hour and 40 minutes. Folks, when you are unpunching a game, please, please do not take an hour and 40 minutes. Zim, you do the same. Thank you so much for joining, and I will talk to you all later.